Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
First, Boots the chemist has found itself in the middle of a moral debate. Morning after pills used to prevent unwanted pregnancies are sold at the high street giant for around twice what some rival stores sell them for. When challenged about the pricing policy by the British Pregnancy Advisory Service, Boots originally said it was avoiding incentivising inappropriate use. The company has since apologised for what it calls its poor choice of words and says it is looking for cheaper options. Well, the pills are free from the NHS, but the Pregnancy Advisory Service says some women need emergency contraception and cost is an issue. So, should they be easier to buy? Joining us now to discuss this are Claire Murphy from the British Pregnancy Advisory Service, Ruth Rawlins from the Centre for Bioethical Reform UK, Anthony McCarthy from the Society for the Protection of Unborn Children, and Afua Hirsch, a writer and broadcaster. Welcome to you all. Well, Anthony, I'll start with you. As a result of this row, some high street stores are selling cheaper versions of the pill. Surely, if it's available, women should have it for a cheaper price.
Well, what we know is that widespread use of the morning after pill does not reduce abortions, and I think people are very interested in reducing abortions. Many people don't know that the morning after pill may actually cause an early abortion by preventing an embryo from implanting. Women are not told about this, and they weren't really told about the increased risks of ectopic pregnancy until the chief medical officer intervened. So I think this is a very worrying development. I think women are not being cared for, and I think they're being kept in the dark.
Claire, a response to that?
Yeah, I'd really like to respond to that because I think clinically that's just nonsense, and I think it's fine for you to have a moral objection to women accessing the morning after pill, although I think you're absolutely wrong. But I think it's really problematic when you start mixing up clinical
How is it clinically? How is it clinically not?
Hang on, Anthony. In terms of what? What do you mean?
So, I mean, the morning after pill is not an early abortion. That's just nonsense. The morning after pill works by delaying ovulation so that women don't get pregnant in the first place. And I think on the ectopic pregnancy, the morning after pill reduces the risk of ectopic pregnancy by reducing the risk of pregnancy altogether. So I think this is, I think this is actually a moral issue insofar as I think we actually have a moral obligation to ensure that women have a second chance of avoiding an unwanted pregnancy.
So, Claire, let's just talk about the broader point. Isn't it for the retailer to decide what the price should be?
I think the retailer can absolutely decide what the price can be, but I think people also have the right to understand what the reasons are for that retailer keeping the price high. And I think Boots is obviously a company which has put women at the forefront of its marketing exercises. You know, it's very much sort of seemed to stand for female empowerment. So I think people really responded quite furiously when they saw that
women
Boots
don't need to go there. They don't need
to go there, and I think lots of women will be voting with their feet until this issue is resolved.
So why do you need to get involved? Let Boots just charge what they want, and women don't need to go there.
I think what we want to see is for women to be able to access an affordable product, and Boots, which is such a key player in this market. Most people live near a Boots store. I think it's really important that Boots does the right thing on this.
Ruth, Boots initially said they didn't want to incentivise inappropriate use by reducing the price. Now, they've since said sorry for their poor choice of words. Should a retailer be making moral judgments?
Well, I think in that letter it's also interesting to note that they also spoke about that some of their customers do not support this service of the morning after pill. So they are, I don't think it's true to say that all women are wanting it, you know, on demand. There's some of their customers clearly are not supporting the use of the morning after pill. So, you know, they have to balance the different opinions of their customers. But I think it's important to point out, as Anthony said, that it's not just the contraception side of it, but it can also end the life of an already formed human being, because we know life, the science of embryology tells us that life begins at conception. So when that egg is fertilized, you have a new human being, and that's one of the other ways, the secondary ways that this pill can also work. So if it can end the life of an already formed human being at its early stages, I think this is very important information that women need to know. And I don't know why Claire BPAS and some of the abortion lobby want to hide this information from.
This is not a debate about abortion. The morning after pill is thought to mainly work by delaying or stopping the ovaries from releasing an egg.
But however, it works in the other way as well.
It can do, yeah. The hormone it affects. Hang on. The hormone it affects plays a role in ovulation and preparing the uterus for accepting a fertilised egg. Let's get F1 in. What do you make of this?
Well, I think I like to think I'm coming from the perspective just as an ordinary woman, and I think that it's important to say that there are a lot of taboos around this subject. I mean, I thought about whether I would say on the show that I've taken the morning after pill, and then I wondered why I even questioned that, because I don't know any women my age who haven't taken the morning after pill. You know, it's very common that women find at some point in their life that they need to take emergency contraception, and I don't think there's anything to be ashamed with about that. I think we as women want to have control over our lives, over our reproductive health. I think it's interesting to hear that the debate's been so much about information. Women want information, and I think that the idea that retailers should restrict access to this is incredibly muddled thinking. Women are already worried about taking the morning after pill. They don't take it unnecessarily, you know. They take it very seriously, the need to take emergency contraception, and I think it should be as widely available as possible so that women can make up their own mind.
Afra, you're in good company, because 300,000 almost people take emergency contraception or are provided with it in a year. So there are many people doing it. Did the price put you off, and do you regret it?
So my view is that if you need emergency contraception, you're probably going to go to whatever lengths you have to get it. And, you know, I remember paying about £25 for it. This was a few years ago.
Did it make you think twice about it?
It made it more difficult to take it, and my worry is that the price at the moment in retailers like Boots, which is charging more than it needs to for it, is disproportionately affecting lower income women, and that's why I say this is muddled thinking, because if something is available and it's deemed safe to be available on the shelf, then it should be as affordable and accessible as possible. If there is a need to restrict it for a medical reason, then we should hear that and understand why it's restricted, and that should be the same across the board. But at the moment, it's this very confusing situation, which I think just alienates women from having choice over their bodies.
We've got a medical expert. Let's talk to Emma.
Yes, let's bring in Benedict Lamb, a pharmacist trained to prescribe emergency hormonal contraception to adult women and teenagers below the age of 16. Benedict, first of all, let me ask you this. It's come up in our debate here in the studio. The morning after pill, it's been claimed here by one of our panellists, may cause an abortion. What is the clinical view of that?
In our view, the emergency hormonal contraception pill is not equivalent to an abortion pill, so it does not actually cause an abortion. The main way that it works is by, as Claire already said, delaying ovulation or preventing fertilisation.
So that's the clinical view of that. Yes. It's around £6 to buy this pill in France. British women are paying up to around £28 in this country. Do you think it's unethical that pharmacists have charged more for it as potentially a deterrent?
I think it's unfortunate that this has erupted into the sort of the public arena, that Boots has gotten involved in what is a difficult conversation. I think that initially back in 2000, when the tablet was first reclassified to be made available in pharmacies, there was a statement from the original manufacturer of the morning after pill, which did indicate the high price that was set was to ensure or to try to not discourage women from using it regularly.
So high price was used originally as a deterrent in some way.
Yes.
Have you seen it as a deterrent? Is there any evidence that a price point will actually stop a woman coming forward to get the morning after pill in your many consultations with women?
So I've been providing this service for well over a decade. I do have women coming in requesting the medicine, and when I tell them the price, sometimes they do ask, is there a cheaper version? Some women who are more informed may come in and ask me, do you provide it for free? So in England, some community pharmacies provide this tablet for free under what we call a local patient group direction scheme, and that's usually funded by sort of local boroughs and councils.
OK, Benedict Lamb, thank you for that insight there and the clinical definition of what this bill does. Sean?
Yeah, well, Anthony was shaking his head through that.
Quickly, yeah.
You might not agree morally, but surely unwanted pregnancies, it's a good way of avoiding unwanted pregnancies.
Well, in fact, what we find is that the morning after pill, which can have an abortifying effect according to the manufacturers, so there's a clinical opinion, the morning after pill does nothing to reduce abortion. We found that in study. And where they've been freely available, there's a number of studies, we've seen rises in sexually transmitted diseases and no good effect on teen pregnancy. So even if you're focusing particularly on the pill, it's not doing what one would hope it would do, even if you thought it was an OK thing to do. I think we need to start caring for... I mean, we heard about...
It's giving women choice, isn't it?
Well, he's talking about giving it to underage girls, for goodness sake. That actually helps abusive environments, and it encourages risk-taking, and there's a great lack of information.
It prevents a 13-year-old having a baby when maybe she's effectively still a baby herself.
Well, if you look at the Bristol Serious Case Review 2016...
Well, it doesn't encourage abuse, does it?
Well, no. As a matter of fact, there's evidence of people using morning after pills to cover up abuse. What I think is we should look for 13-year-olds not to be having sex. We should look for something much more positive, rather than thinking, let's keep shoving morning after pills, dangerous hormonal contraceptives like that, and getting them on an abortion track. You know, all of this blights people's lives. Let's look for something better for women.
I'm not connected to the lobby on either side of this, but it does strike me listening to Anthony that, you know, his group is also against more sex and relationship education for children in schools that would educate them about the need to have healthy relationships, that they don't need to take emergency contraception. To me, the idea is that you inform people as well as possible, but then if they need this medication, you make it available.
Well, then we should inform them of the risks.
It's got you guys going on the panel. Let's just get people at home. Social media, Emma.
Yes, well, it has also got everybody at home going as well. Barbara on Facebook, good morning to you. Yes, the pill should be more readily available. Accidents happen. It is not the role of a chemist to act as the guardian to people's morals. David on Facebook also adding in, so they thought rich women could be trusted to act responsibly, but not the poor. Women don't take morning after pills for the fun of it. Alan also adds, nice incentive to have unprotected sex then. Should be £10,000 a bill, rising by £10,000 every time you need one. Helen adding her views there to Alan, saying women need to take responsibility and not conceive any babies they don't want to look after. The morning after pill is a chemical abortion. But Stephanie adding her experience on Twitter. When I was a student, I was caught in this position. It's mortifying and expensive. We shouldn't be hit with a double whammy for a minor indiscretion. And Sarah, the final word to you. I can't help but think that if it were men who had to take emergency contraception, the price would plummet. Sure.
Emma, thank you very much indeed. I know you're all chomping at the bit to say something. Well, we are out of time, so thank you very much.
Thank you.